Good evening. Welcome to 2020, Impact 2020. My name is Nathaniel Watkins, and this is our conversation that we have with about current topics that we have in society today. We've talked many times about social injustice. We've talked many times about violence against people of color. We've talked a little bit, touched in on politics from time to time, and we've also done things such as just talking about what's going on in the world as a whole. We also come in with a Christian perspective to make sure that we have our conversation. So where are we? Let's talk about where we are right now in society. We are post-election, about 2 weeks after the election. Joe Biden has won the election. That's where we are. That was one of the big fights when it comes to protesting and talking about systemic racism. Previous administration kind of shied away from the issue of systemic racism, kind of shied away from issues of police violence. And so one of the moves was to make sure during this election period, presidential election period, that votes were cast in order to move in a different administration. And I guess the hope is to make sure that this administration is a little bit more, what's the best word to say, a little bit more in touch with the concerns of people of color. And so that's where we are now. And so now we're talking about next steps. We're talking about kind of a post-mortem on what has gone on so far. And so to be able to do that, we want to continue the conversation. To everyone who is listening, you can participate in this conversation. You can by typing in your comments and typing in your questions into the comment section. If you have any comments or questions, we will definitely read them and discuss them to keep the conversation going. We want to make this as interactive as possible. So, and so, so let's continue on. All right. So one of the things that we're going to focus on tonight is Black participation as far as in the election. And what we've talked about before is the participation of African Americans went up significantly in this election compared to previous elections. When we look at what happened in 2016, the number of Black voters dropped off. And so one of the questions is, why was that? Is it because of we just had a high in participation when it became Barack Obama, and then a drop off when there was no candidate of color on the ballot? Or was there just a lack of reach out from the candidates before? This time around, there was a significant increase in 2020 with the amount of people who voted, people of color who voted. And to go dive deeper into it, one of the things was male voters, male Black voters. Male Black voters voted 97% for Barack Obama. Male Black voters voted 82% for Hillary Clinton. Male Black voters voted 80% for Biden and voted increasingly at one of the highest numbers for Trump. And so one of the questions that has to be asked and discussed is, why was that trend a thing? And so even though there were more Black voters overall, so to be able to premise this out, more Black people voted, more Black men voted. But when you break down the percentage of who they voted for, more Black men supported Trump in relationship to Biden. So again, Biden got 80% of the Black male vote versus Hillary Clinton's 82%. And so the question is, when we're looking at Trump and we look at the situation of and again, we're not trying to be too political on this of going at Trump, but the question is, if he is representative of the anti-Black Lives Matter movement, the he said that systematic discrimination doesn't exist. He's pulled away from education in the federal level. Federal contractors and federal employees had to be educated on sensitivity, racial sensitivity, and pulled away at that, saying that that really wasn't a thing, it didn't exist. There was a notion that Black people, weren't a priority yet. And so why then would there be an increased number of Black males supporting or voting for a cause which inherently is hurting themselves? President Barack Obama, former President Barack Obama, just recently came out with a book. And in his book, he attributed some things from the hip hop generation, basically saying the bling, the women, the money that's associated in rap music, or more so the hip hop culture, is some of the same goals that Trump has. And so the allure of in hip hop, the allure in the rap game of money, clothes, and cars, and women and things like that is the same allure that Trump had. So when you have individuals who glorify that type of lifestyle, and you have someone who participates in that type of lifestyle, or he glorifies that lifestyle, those two things work symbiotically. And even though, or even against the better interests of the culture or the better interests of your people. So say, for example, there were, I've said this before and we're going to say it again, there was a comment by 50 Cent, who is a rapper, for those of you who may not know. He said, basically, I am paraphrasing, that he doesn't care if Trump doesn't like Black people. He doesn't want to pay the 62% tax that Biden would have if he got into office. So he prioritized his personal tax situation above the lives of other Black people. And so that the notion is, how many other Black males fall into the same category or fell into the same category? Is that a thing? And why is that a thing? And Barack Obama obviously noticed that, and he wrote his book before the election. Like, it dropped 1 week after the election, so there's no real connection there that he was going to know that this is what 50 Cent was going to say, or he knew that how the election was going to go. But the question becomes, as Black men, why is there a group of us who prioritize our own situations? Selfishly, narcissistically, however you want to describe it, why do we put our own situations over the culture, or over the group, or over different Black lives, or different people's lives of color? Why do we sit back and say, well, as long as I get my money, as long as my taxes get cut, as long as I can get a job, as long as I can get this, this, and this, or as long as this pet issue or pet project that I love is being put into place, I can go for that, even if that means turning a blind eye to the systemic racism that is throughout different aspects of government, and like police, and different aspects of government in the hiring process, and systematic racism, which is all through the whole entire system that we have set up here, government system, the laws that we have. We can turn a blind eye to both of those as long as your individual thing is going on. It's a really selfish notion. And so as people of color, and for those of us who are Christians, for those of us who believe in God and in Jesus Christ, how do we go on that selfish notion as well? How can we be committed to that? And so we have others to join us, and I'm going to back these questions off of Chris as well. Chris, thank you for joining us. How's it going today? All right.
All right. Appreciate it. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Good, it's good. So look, we're going right into it, the real talk conversation. And I don't know what part you were able to grasp. I'm gonna go through a little bit more of it again. 82% of black men voted for Hillary Clinton. 80% of black men voted for Joe Biden. And the reason that number is important is because the numbers of black men that voted for Trump has gone up significantly since the last time around. And since 2016, Trump has been associated with anti black causes. He's against Black Lives Matter. He doesn't believe in white privilege. He doesn't believe in systematic racism. He took away or attempted to take away the training that federal employees got for racial sensitivity and being sensitive to other cultures. And then, there's numerous things in his past of where he had housing discrimination lawsuits. So basically, if we're being honest, he represents the anti-black movement. Then why did so many black males decide, hey man, this is the guy I want to go with?
Well, it's strange, but we have a reality TV culture. Our culture is fascinated with personality. Even in our community, you see, who are the celebrities now in our community? They are rappers, they are singers, and they're TV show people. So the entertainment industry has an extremely large pool in popular American culture, just in general. And, and a few people get stuck in, get caught into that whirlwind of celebrity and just kind of looking at things from a perspective of, this guy's entertaining, he's funny, let me support him. And I've talked to actually a few black people that vehemently support, President Trump. And a lot of them support him based on their religious beliefs. And that blew my mind. But, they felt that he supported a conservative Christian lifestyle. And they felt like he was going to support that and fight for that and govern, from that perspective. I mean, but at the end of the day, this is also the man that said, you just grab a woman by her private parts and has had all kinds of, unsolicited affairs, So I don't understand it. A lot of this stuff, some stuff is not for us to understand. It's for us to sit back and kind of just watch.
Yeah. Well, let's dive into that a little bit. Because is it proper for us to, we're Christian men, so would it be proper for us to prioritize certain desires, Christian desires? We'll say no. Let me put that, church desires. I'm gonna say that because they're not Christian desires. Church desires over the life of black people. So, say for example, let me give you a good example here. We have some churches who feel like they want to be able to. They want to be able to push for policies, for example, of healthcare, when they want to say, "Hey, we don't want to pay for birth control," and so that's a policy that they like, and they say, "Well, because my church says we don't like birth control, I don't want birth control. I don't mind if a couple of black people get shot by police and there's no accountability for it. I don't mind if." I don't mind if our president is encouraging white supremacist organizations and racist organizations. I don't mind if the FBI has reported that Yeah, the FBI has reported that violent crimes, racist crimes, has gone up over 300% in the last 4 years. As long as I can get my church thing off, um, is that okay? Is that cool? Like, should we be prioritizing church traditions over the lives of people of color? Because we have a little bit of a lag, so he's getting it a little a little late. So we're gonna see if he can chime in here. Sorry for the technical delays here.
Well, I don't believe that anybody that really truly embraces the the principles of Jesus Christ would ever think that you know anything that would cause harm to anybody would be acceptable. Um, and if we talk in politics, I mean, I really, I don't even understand the politics behind abortion. I don't. I don't understand why it's such a big political deal. I don't understand why I don't understand why it's a big deal. I got a lag.
It's all right. Keep going. If the lag, it'll get to you late. But go ahead and keep going.
Am I frozen or are you frozen?
No, you should be good. I'm not sure. Yeah. All right. Well, oh, Chris, whenever you hear what I'm saying, just jump back in and just keep going. So we're going to address one of the questions that popped up, and or one of the comments. We should not try to legalize Christianity, and that's one of the questions. One of the things that was said by um, one of the black leaders, Al Sharpton. He basically said we shouldn't try
Oh,
to.
I didn't know what happened. I saw a pause. Okay. Well, I just okay. Well, at the end of at the I just I don't believe that how people use their body should be anything that should be concerned by the government. The government should have no say in how a human being uses their body. You know, and so
I'm guessing the money we made from conventions West will also help. And what does he say?
Anything. Can you hear me?
Look at that vocabulary. You know what these words are, and you use the word stuff. Oh my.
Everybody can. Can y'all hear me over there? No. Can y'all hear me? I can't hear anything. I can't hear.
Okay, that's why you spoke. So, an example of the story is it was just like heck government with their work. They settled the land. Those were the best. Okay, so why was it important? So when you're starting a place, what do you have to think about?
Can you hear anything I'm saying?
Think about your resources. What are your resources?
I hear you now.
Okay, all right. All right, go ahead and finish your point.
Well, as far as geography, you gotta think about. Do they have access to water?
Yeah, I feel like the government should have no say in how anybody uses their body, you know. And so I think any kind of legislation that prevents a woman from, you know, expressing her reproductive rights is you know, it's not the business of the government to dictate that. It's almost like, you know, saying that people cannot making tattoo parlors illegal because you shouldn't have a tattoo, or you know, or men should not be able to get piercings, you know. And that's, you know, when you start legislating how people should be able to use their body, you know, it becomes problematic for me. And so anybody that supports, you know, any human being from, you know, kind of not having the ability to do something with their body, you know, taking away their choice to use their body, I believe I just don't agree with it. You know, I don't believe the government should have any say in how, you know, we behave. The government should be a institution to help monitor and manage the culture, but not dictate, you know, what the culture should be, you know, not dictate what people should be and how people should behave.
Yeah. When we talk about when we talk about the government and the established way that we have things, it's supposed to be the freedom of religion and the freedom from religion. And so we have a group of people who are trying to push their religious beliefs on everyone.
Did you hear that?
I think that's wrong. It's an option, and you can get down with Christianity or you can not. That is your choice. You're supposed to choose that God, not force it.
No, not anymore.
So,
We tried to make that.
unfortunately, we've had a lot of technical difficulties today, but I'm trying to see if we can get one last
It just
Barack Obama
So,
about the
you know,
talked about the black community.
I don't know if y'all can hear me or not. Can you hear me still?
We can hear you. It's just a lag on your part. I guess you're going to get that later. But he talked about about the black community and talked about one of the appeals of rap music lining up with some of the reason that black men supported Trump. And if we be real when we talk about it, you know, in our culture, we say a lot of things like money over everything. And so, is there a problem with the hip hop culture pushing people towards maybe some problematic views? And so, whenever you get this, just go right into it.
Okay.
I think, you know, that's how you know he was about to say something great, because all of a sudden it cut out.
Blackout.
All right. Well, we're not gonna prolong the issue. Unfortunately, we had a lot of technical difficulties tonight. Hopefully, there was something that you were able to get out of the conversation that we had. We will continue the conversation, and we will fix our technical difficulties. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is Impact 2020. Please join us again, and let's keep this conversation going and move ourselves forward in this fight towards just equal rights for everyone, regardless of color, regardless of race or religion, and making sure that if you are a Christian, hopefully you are, if you're not, that's okay as well, that we all continue to act like one, and we all know that our Christian lives should dictate our activities and how we're thinking, how we're voting, how we're treating others. Thank you again. Good night.